Hey everyone. We're lucky enough today to have our special guest on board, Roisin D. I'm really bad with names and hopefully I got that kind of close. Roisin, or I'm just going to call you D to make it easy. D is the young lady we saw a couple of weeks ago who had the AstraZeneca jab. We have to be careful with what we say so we don't get taken off, and started to have seizures. So firstly, hi D, hope you're doing all right. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So I had you on briefly last night, tried to get you on to do a live, but we're being censored very heavily by Instagram, Facebook. I couldn't put it up anywhere. So I've decided to do it via Zoom. So thank you firstly for giving me your time today. Obviously, last night when I was speaking to you, one of the ladies from my page, Nana, had come over and seen you with some CBD oil and other natural ingredients to try and help. And one of the things I wanted to clarify with people is last night it did help, but it looks like today you've got the, I don't know even what to call it, the shakes back. I'll let you speak. I really want to hear what happened with you last week leading up to now, and then we'll go into what's happened with last night's treatment as well. So the floor is all yours. Let us know what happened.
Yeah, so I'm a nursing student with going into placement. So I did the right thing, went where I was supposed to, filled out a survey that said what phase I'd fit into as a nursing student, wanting to protect both me and my patients as someone who's a nurse would want to. So fitted into that phase 1B. And luckily enough, I don't know if it was luckily enough, a clinic not far from where I live had a lot of appointments for the jab. So I thought, right, I'm going on placement in 3 weeks, do the right thing, get my first dose, because at least I'd be semi-protected at that point. So yeah, went in for my jab, and yeah, that's where things started to go downhill.
And so it was the AstraZeneca jab. They don't tell you beforehand, but they give you something afterwards. Is that how it works?
So I wasn't given any paperwork or anything when I left. I was just told to sit in the waiting room for 15 minutes, just in case anything was going to happen within that first 15-minute time frame. I was able to access my immunization history though through the Medicare system. So that gave me what I had and the batch number I had as well, just in case I needed that for future.
Oh, wow. So that all comes afterwards. It's not told to you beforehand. You don't know what's getting put into your body or whatever else. That's shocking to me in the first place. And I'm sure with all your nursing studies, you learn about doing no harm. You learn about medication and all those things and doing dosing and all the rest. Does it not seem weird even? And I should say as well, we mentioned this last night, we're not about being anti-vax. We're not about telling people not to get this. We're not being reckless. We're just saying to people, get informed choices. So does it seem weird to you that you don't get told all this stuff beforehand?
It is a bit weird. As you said, as nurses, we're trained to do no harm to our patients. We're trained to make sure that we give that informed consent so they know what's going on before we do any sort of procedure, whether that's giving a needle or anything like that. So I think that's a big thing that needs to be looked at, is that informed consent, because I'm definitely not an anti-vaxxer. I've had all my vaccinations from day I was born. Even my flu vax, I get that every year because I have family in nursing homes. I'm also a nurse, so we've got to have that. So I'm definitely not against it. I just want to make sure people do have that informed consent.
Yeah, and I guess that's why you went in there not thinking you might have heard things on TV or seen things on the internet, but you didn't go in there thinking, I'm not going to do this. And I think I even read your mum was concerned about things going on around the world on her Facebook page. But obviously being a nurse, there's almost a little bit of pressure to go and get that jab done. Did you feel that pressure as well? Or was it just for you, just a no-brainer, I'm going to get it done because it's part of the job and whatever else?
A little bit of both, I guess, but more so because I'm a nurse, and we also we tell our patients that we do this because we want to help you. So we want to do what we can to make sure that we're okay to help that patient, and getting the jab was one step to make sure that we could help them. Yeah.
So it's a tricky situation, really, when you're seeing things around the world, even your mum's researching and you're like, well, I need to go and do this because it's part of what I want to be. It's my career. It's what I like. Obviously, I can see now you've still got I don't know if I call them seizures or shakes. It's a weird thing because we were discussing yesterday, is it neurological? Is it nerve damage? you don't mind if I talk about, so you're on some medications as well beforehand.
Yes.
Is there any interaction? We don't know that either.
No, we don't.
Yeah, and that's what makes it really tricky, because I've looked into, is it antidepressants, is it anti-seizure medication, is it blood thickening? And we're not doctors or scientists, we're just trying to get the information out to as many people as possible so they know. You've been and seen neurologists and other things, so what's happened since then? You've gone and seen specialists, or you've tried to?
Tried to see specialists. I don't want to call them specialists sometimes. The neurologist I saw, he was the top one for the Gold Coast. He said it's just sympathetic nervous system damage and that it will go away eventually. I just have to learn to control my emotions.
Wow, that's crazy.
In this kind of world, how do you control your emotions? I'm not a genius.
Yeah. That's crazy. And even the fact that he's not seeing a correlation between the date you got the jab and when this stuff started. Like, if you were nervous before you got the jab, if you're nervous after, that's not, this is happening around the world. So for that doesn't sound right. So that was one person you saw.
Yeah, so, and then I went back to my regular GP because unfortunately she only works 2 days a week, but I love her so much. I've been seeing her since I was 3. So I make her feel old occasionally. But even she's at a loss as to what's going on, because certain neurological tests we do, I'm okay with. So like walking heel to toe, that shows that certain parts of my brain are working. Yet we've got this, which can be a part of the brain, but also a part of the nervous system. So at the moment, I've got a medical certificate that says we have no idea what's going on, but my GP has put on the official Centrelink form that this only started after the jab. So it's more than just a coincidence. Someone do something, because she is ropeable.
It's interesting because we're seeing adverse effects. I'm researching with a lawyer in Melbourne, and we're seeing from AstraZeneca, it's 60% plus people are getting adverse events after their second jab. This is after your first jab. So is it that it's some kind of what's the word, allergic reaction? It doesn't sound like it. It sounds more like a nervous system thing. So it's a really confusing one.
Yeah, it is.
How do you sleep? So do you get to, does it race along when you're trying to sleep as well? Oh, by the way, what's your cat's name?
Oh, this is Dante, everyone. This is my little baby.
Dante. Does Dante pick up on the fact that something weird's going on with mum?
Yeah, he's not left me alone for like the last 3 weeks. I actually own 3 cats, and all 3 of them haven't left me for like the last 3 weeks.
They're amazing that they pick up on these kind of things. So they are amazing. So yeah, it's a weird thing. It's just, do you know what the next step is? Because I know that Nana came and helped you. So one of our followers from our Instagram got in touch with your mum. She was persistent. She was like, I need to come and give you some help, because she's into natural therapies. So what did she do for you last night?
So I had, I'm pretty sure it was frankincense put on most of my body, which helps with the brain and just helps calm it down. But she put a mixture of all these different oils into a roller. So I think frankincense was one, lavender, and I'm not sure what the other ones were. I've got them sitting outside, and that was rubbed onto the base of my neck and all the way down my spine. And I also had some put in the palms of my hands. And that took about 5 minutes for me to stop shaking. But you could obviously still see my muscles were contracting. But that's probably just because they're so overworked. They're just like, I don't know what to do anymore.
It must be exhausting. It must be really exhausting.
It is very, I'm on a lot of vitamins to try and stop my body from just going into complete shutdown from exhaustion. I think I'm on about 12 vitamins a day, twice a day.
So that must be really quite scary. Oh, I know what I asked before. How do you sleep?
Sleep, yeah, that's a fun one. I've got to make sure I've had my special oil before I go to sleep, because I can't sleep without it. I just can't.
Yeah. It's full on, and it must be scary. This is the thought process, not to put fear into you or anyone else out there, but the thought process of, will this go away? Like, will I start feeling better? Because I can't imagine it. I know when I first saw your pictures, I had tears because I've got a young daughter, and I just thought, if that was my kid, like, what would I do? And when I first saw it, I was like, is it real? Like, it's so weird. But then I looked around the world and saw all the other people with nearly exactly the same thing. I don't know if you've reached out and spoken to anyone else, but there are other people with the same thing going on. And it's just looks so debilitating.
Yeah, it's very hard because I need my hands.
Yeah.
And if I've got to have straws, like dad and my younger brother help me get food because I can't hold the plate without food going left, right, and everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for someone my age to try and now have to depend on other people because of my culture as well. We're very stubborn and very independent.
Yeah, well, I got that last week because I was like, come on alive, do this, do that. And you guys were like, we don't want to be in the news. We don't want to do this. And I get that 100% because they misreport so many things as well. And I know from you and talking to your mum, and you don't want to cause fear, but it's really just, I wanted to get the story out there so people know you're okay, because I had so many people asking if you're okay. And we want people to understand that there are adverse effects that can happen, and people need to weigh up the pros and cons in whatever job they're in and whatever they're doing, I guess. What would be your last thing you would say? We won't do this for too long. We want it to be shareable because people want to know that you're okay.
Yeah, I am okay. Like, other than this, yes, it's a nuisance. But with anything, I say to all my patients, make sure you weigh up the pros and cons. I don't want to tell you don't do it because this is what I'm feeling. Because you could be totally fine. Like, my doctor had the jab, she's fine. So it's just all dependent on your body's chemical makeup. Everybody's body chemical makeup is different, and it will react with medication differently, no matter whether that's an antidepressant, whether that's even vitamins sometimes. So it's definitely just an informed consent. If you want to have it, have it. I don't care. It's you, your body, do what you want with it. But just so you know, people can get this. It may not be you, but just be careful.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point that you said, is that we don't know the medication interactions, because you usually know that on nearly every drug you administer. This one hasn't got that testing because it's been pushed through so quickly. And we did read that off the TGA website, that they don't know about interactions with other drugs. Maybe there's a link with antidepressants. Maybe there's a link with some vitamins you've been taking. Who knows? But, I think you're a brave person. Just the fact that you've come on today and said good day to everyone. I'm stoked to see that you're doing okay, as hard as this looks. I hope you get out and bathe yourself in frankincense later on today.
I'm just going to go take a bath in it.
Yeah, have a bath in frankincense. I know that Dante will look after you, and your mum Donna's an amazing human as well. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you, Dee, for coming on and saying good day as well.
Not a problem.
Okay, I'll catch up with you again soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.